Hello everyone, welcome to another video from Fantasy Football Scout. If you're here to see some pain from Gianni, if you've been annoyed with his doing quite well over the last sort of 9 to 10 weeks, you're in for a treat tonight because Gianni, it was not a good week for you, was it?
It's an absolute shocker. I mean, to be fair, my team's actually was in really good shape and scored really well across the board. But then I got captaincy wrong. And unfortunately, this game is 90% captaincy and 10% everything else, which is a shame because we spend, obviously, I'm going to say that this week, but we spend all of our time, we spend hours each week deliberating on every little move we make and every small decision and every price rise and every injury. It doesn't matter. All you need to do is get captaincy right, as this week's shown. I had a worldy week. I'd have scored way above 100 points if I got captaincy right, but I didn't. So I had a nightmare.
Oh dear. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. And the biggest, well, probably not the biggest, but one of the unfortunate things here, where was 1 point in it between us. We've been, up and down throughout the last sort of, since we started doing these. But now you can see 41k for me, 282k for you, and it's purely down to that captaincy.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Yeah, it is. And it wasn't just the captaincy. It was the -4 I bought in to bring Havertz in.
Yeah.
Plus, if I didn't make that transfer, I would have started Livramento, who got 9 points. So it was actually it was the 21 I missed out on captaincy, plus the 4-point hit. What's that? 25 plus the 9. So it's 34 points net, which is 34 points. That would have taken me to 15 points for the game week. I would have been on the same rank as you. You know?
Yeah. Oh, I do you know what the worst part was? You working that out and then realizing that it's 34 points. Because I was thinking, I told a few people to do Jota to Havertz, even for
I saw your tweet,
captain, and I think I worked it out about the same. Would have been about 35 points lost on that, just on that one move. It was a brutal week for a lot of people. So yeah, anyone who's listening and Captain Havertz, you are not alone because. Yeah, Gianni can feel your pain. And like I said, if I'd had Jota, I would definitely have done that move. So, yeah, ouch. Right, we're going to go into your team in a bit more detail. Just before we do, I just want to talk about Fantasy 5, who are partnered with Fantasy Scout this season. It's a complimentary game to play alongside FPL each week. A few minutes to set up your team. Essentially what you do is you pick 5 players, and those 5 players earn fantasy points, just the same as FPL. There's no bonus points. And they have a fantasy target. So if your player that you pick outscores their fantasy target, then you get that player ticked off. And if you get all 5 right, you get £10,000. It sounds easy. It is easy. It's a very, very simple game, but it's not so easy to win it because often the players you think are going to do well have higher points targets and they don't quite meet it. So you try and go for kind of riskier players like Havertz, who doesn't come in. So yeah, it's really tough. But this week looks really good. We're going to talk about it in a bit more detail. But I think if you're ever thinking of getting involved in Fantasy 5, this is a great week to do it because some of the targets look very achievable. Even if you don't meet the targets, there's weekly prizes, Premier League football kits of choice. There's monthly prizes. There's a Fantasy Football Scout League, which code's in the description. And also there's prizes, the Fantasy 5 giveaway. They've given away a 4K gaming monitor, for example. And I believe this month is an Apple Watch as well. So yeah, great monthly prizes. And there's an annual prize as well of Champions League final tickets. So great to get involved, and all the links and stuff are in the description. If you're interested in Fantasy 5, stick around at the end of this video. Jenny and I will be picking out some of our players that we think are going to score well this week to help you. We can all share the jackpot together and it'd be really nice, and we can go off to the Bahamas and all that and have a lovely time. Right. Oh, I mean, that's all nice. It's a nice dream for the Bahamas. It's not so nice getting your team up on the screen. Gianni, 82 points. Like you say, any other week, decent week. Any other week when you captain Salah, you'd be in the 100 points club and laughing. Your team was Ramsdale in goal, same as me, 3 points, disappointing. Obviously, Arsenal in full control of that game, managed to concede. Reece James, 13. Diaz and Cancelo both conceded, 2 and 1 for them.
That was offside, that penalty. That should have, VAR didn't go back long enough. And it was only 4 or 5 passes before the pen. It was clearly offside, but VAR just didn't go back enough. Yet the week before, they went back 10 phases of play and found an offside.
I found myself very conflicted in that because, in the whole game, because I had Foden and Cancelo in that match, and obviously as a Brighton fan, I didn't want us to lose, but after we're 2-0 down, the game's kind of over. You're 3-0 down, whatever it was. You're kind of just thinking, well, we might as well just get spanked now. And is that a healthy attitude to have? I was kind of annoyed when we got the penalty because
Yeah,
I knew it wouldn't
'cause you're a
really matter the
Cancelo.
result, and I had Cancelo. I don't know. It's a weird way to. I'm very conflicted when Brighton play players that I have in my team.
Yeah.
But we played well in the second half, I have to say.
Yeah.
Really well. If we'd played like that in the first half, we might have given them more of a game. I thought we'd give them, a good game, but they're just too strong. Man City.
City are just coming out the blocks quick at the moment, aren't they? Like they're looking like a team that every time they play, they're going to score 4 or 5 goals.
Yep.
Like they're very capable of that in any given match, any given half. Like they could have scored 4 or 5 in the first half, right? And you look at it and go, that's why you have to cover this attack.
Absolutely. And cover the attack you did. You had Foden with 18 points. We will talk about him in a sec because I probably owe you one for him. Salah with 24, which is great if everyone and their dog hadn't captained him, except you. Rafinha with 1, really disappointing to see him go off, and obviously now a doubt for the weekend. But here we go. Here's the big one. Havertz pain. Havertz 6 points as your captain. The only outfield starting player not to get points, I believe, in the Chelsea team. Even Loftus-Cheek came on and managed to get an assist. Unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. I mean, how did you feel watching that game with Havertz, and how do you feel now?
I felt sick.
Thought you might say that.
It was like, as soon as he went off, Ross Barkley was coming on. I was just like, that is unbelievable because there's 25 minutes left and they're going to score more goals, and they did. But when you score 7 and your number 9's not involved in anything, that doesn't happen in FPL. Like, there's a few points dodgers out there. We've seen it with Firmino and Jesus, like when they've played it in number 9s for City and Liverpool and they've scored big, but never with 7 and never not involved, and never a week where it was an obvious captain pick. Because look, if Lukaku was fit, all those Salah captainers, I'd say 80% of those that went Salah captain would have probably gone Lukaku captain.
I would, so 100%.
Yeah. And so it shows the number 9 versus Norwich, and it shows because they scored 7. I still think it was a very good call. Like, I will argue to the moon and back with anyone that says Havertz, even with hindsight and knowing what happened with Salah and Havertz, it was still a good call. And to say I'd do it again makes me sound naive that I haven't learned from my mistakes. But I know at some point I'll be faced with a similar scenario and I will make that call again. And that's what makes my gameplay quite different to others, because others would see that and go, I would never make that move again. It was naive. I'll learn from that. But there's other managers out there, and I put myself in that category, that goes, no, the outcome was poor, but the decision seemed still right. The decision was obviously right on Salah, but that was a freak. That was a freak. I still back my decision in a weird way.
Yeah. Well, there's 3 things that kind of needed to happen for that to be a disaster. Obviously, Havertz needed to blank, which I think I didn't see that happening. If you'd showed me the score of 7-0 and said Havertz got 3 points in that game, I'd be absolutely amazed, playing out of position up front. I mean, there was some things that Tuchel said. Well, not that he says, but there's stats around Tuchel's strikers and how few goals they score and how few points they get. And obviously, Havertz brings other players into the game and all that. But to get absolutely nothing, and then he scores in the Carabao Cup as well. He scored in the Champions League before that, just to sandwich, some points in between the blank, which hurts. But not only that, you need United just not to show up and just completely capitulate in the way that I don't think many people saw. I think people saw a Liverpool win, but not to the extent that we had at the weekend. And
we've seen United bad, haven't we? But
we've seen
never
them
that bad.
Never
Never like that.
No, I mean, 4-0 down going into half-time is, I thought United would keep it quite tight, and the tactics were just all wrong. The players were making mistakes. We could talk about that game all night. It was absolutely dreadful. But then you need Salah to come in with the return that he got. And again, I was expecting Salah to score and get some points, but to get 24 points away at Old Trafford, first player to score a hat-trick at Old Trafford in the Premier League, it's just the stuff of nightmares. It
happens once a season.
Absolutely.
A single game week player that's heavily captained scores 24 points. That happens once a season max. That happens once every 2 seasons. Like, you don't see those sort of numbers. And I was braced for 2 attacking returns. I thought, if there's a goal and assist, I'll be fine. Anything under 10 points, I can take and go, it was the wrong call, whatever, move on. But as soon as you start getting into double figures, it becomes scary. And then when you get over 20, it's just like, okay, this is insane now.
Yeah.
But there's a few, I noticed, there's 1 or 2 captain hindsights in the chat, which I expect. Gaburi says, Havertz's body language was not captain worthy. Gaburi, if you've ever watched Havertz play, that's how he walks, that's how he runs. His running stats are up there with the best Chelsea players in the league. That's his style. He looks like he's not interested. Don't think that a professional footballer that starts for Germany and scored the winning goal in a Champions League final doesn't care. He puts 100% effort in. It's just the way he runs. Just in the same way you watch Carlos Tevez and think that he's running at 100 miles an hour all the time. It's just a style. Players like Havertz are often punished by fans that don't watch them much or look at the numbers and go, "Oh, he doesn't care. That's not someone you would captain." That's how he plays. Champions League final, he was man of the match. He looks the same.
Do you rate him?
I really rate him, mate. I'm so excited when he came. And I do think we expect a little bit too much of new players in the Premier League if the price tag's been heavy. And the price tag was very heavy. And all the best clubs in the world wanted him. And we were fortunate enough to get him. And I think we will see a very good Havertz. I think we've already seen it in fits and starts. Champions League final, he was amazing. He's brilliant in front of goal. He's so versatile in his positions, and he is like 21 years old, maybe 22. He's young. And when you watch Germany in the Euros, they were poor against England, but the one player who turned up in that must-win game for Germany, and the one player they actually built their team around, Germany, a brilliant football nation, built their team around Havertz. So very good managers think he's an elite level player, Tuchel for one. And I think we'll see it. We hopefully see it more this season. And by next season, we'll see it a lot. But yeah, I mean, big moments. He has delivered. I know he's not been brilliant consistently, but that's new league, new players, new system, new manager.
Second question for you then. Do you think he's a good FPL option still?
Yeah. As long as Lukaku's out, he's a brilliant FPL option. So like as we saw last night.
Couple of weeks max he's got, realistically.
Yeah. As soon as Lukaku is fit, or even Werner's fit and in the 11, I think you sell Havertz, because when there's a number 9 in that Chelsea team and he is competing for one of the 2 number 10 slots, he will, 1, there'll be rotation. 2, when he starts, he'll never play 90. And 3, he's not a brilliant point scorer. But when he's the number 9, he does take more shots. We've seen that. Last night, he looked great. And this isn't a midfielder that's playing false 9. And we often mistake any midfielder that plays number 9 as, oh, it must be a false 9 then. Not at all. When Havertz plays 9, he plays like a striker. He runs in behind. He plays like Werner or Lukaku would on the last man. He's not doing a Phil Foden. So therefore, you get him further up the pitch. You get more shots. I like him. I think he's going to produce against Newcastle. I really do. I'm expecting a goal this weekend. And I think owners deserve it.
They really do. So what do you make of Mason Mount? Because obviously Mason Mount came in with 24 points, joint top scorer this week. It was a funny one because I had considered Mount on my wild card, but I'd considered my wild card as a bit of a steady Eddie, someone who comes in the team. He's always been a bit of a trickler of points. He'll get the odd assist, the odd goal, steady. I mean, for him to get the returns that he got, I was really surprised with. He overperformed on his stats massively. Obviously, the tap in from Loftus-Cheek as well, penalty. Do you think he's kind of stats padded a little bit, or do you think he can start becoming a proper FPL asset that delivers well each week?
I think as long as his price stays low, he'll be a good FPL asset because there's value there, because we're not paying an arm and a leg for a player that's the number 10 for an attacking team that scores lots. And we know he creates lots of chances and his set pieces are really good. My problem with Mount, and Chelsea fans will know, or FPL fans will know, Mount's one of my favourite players at Chelsea, has been for 3 seasons. I loved him at Derby. I'd watched him in the academy.
Every time you say money, mate, it's a part of my soul dies, just so you know.
Yeah, exactly. And even in the under 18s, he was the captain of that team, and that under 18s team was phenomenal, as you would expect with Chelsea academies, right? The one thing I've always said about money is
there it goes.
He's not the best finisher, and I do look at him and I watch him play so much and have done over the years, and I've always thought he needs to improve his finishing. And I'm not a critic of his in any way, shape, or form. But his finishing needs a little bit of work. But actually, we saw against Norwich, he was very clinical, and possibly he's turned a corner there. And look, he's not a bad finisher by any stretch. He's not a Timo Werner, but I do think he often gets into good positions and doesn't score. But actually, looks great. And I thought he was tired after the Euros. I wouldn't have gone near him at the start of the season. Now he looks like he's had a little rest because he had a couple of injuries, and injuries don't aren't always a bad thing. When they're little knocks and you're not travelling to the away Champions League games, as he didn't once or twice, you actually get the rest time. And I think he needed that. And he looks really sharp, although it was Norwich. So let's see where he features against tougher opposition. But he's one of Chelsea's best players. He's a phenomenal footballer. We've heard Gary Neville criticising United players recently, a lot on Sky Sports for the lack of press. Greenwood can't press, Rashford can't press. And Gary Neville says you can't expect these players to do it. The reason Gareth Southgate and the reason Thomas Tuchel and any other manager that's ever managed Mason Mount, Lampard again, the reason they all want Mount is because football has changed and they want teams, most of these managers want teams that can press from the front. There are very few attacking players that can do it like Mace. He genuinely is the best presser I've probably seen in terms of an attacking midfielder. He's phenomenal, and that is so important now to the way football's played.
I think United could have done with him against Liverpool if that was the strategy they were looking to get. So we're going to see quite a few people moving for Mount, going forward. I think obviously, like you say, great player. Hopefully, he can start delivering those returns. What about the people that are moving Havertz to Mount? Do you think that's? I'm guessing from what you've been saying.
Don't do it.
Yeah, it's too sideways, right?
It's so sideways, and also. Honestly, given the choice going into Newcastle, could I have Mount or Havertz in my team? Let's say they're exactly the same price. I'd take Havertz. He's playing number 9. Cool. He's playing number 9. That's all I need. That is why I bought Phil Foden. By the way, I bought Foden before he got any FPL
Hang on,
points.
Well, no, we're gonna come on to Phil Foden. We're gonna come on to Phil Foden. Well, we're gonna come to Phil Foden right now, actually, because like you just said, you bought Foden in before he was cool. I gave you a bit of stick for it. You said you'd eat your hat if you didn't have Foden, but I mean the one thing is you were pretty close to going with Greenwood instead of Foden. Don't try and pull the wool over my eyes.
For 1 week only.
Yeah.
The plan was always Foden. It was, do I get him in on that wild card?
Well, I had Mopay for 1 week only, and now I'm probably going to be stuck with him for the next 3 or 4 weeks. So you never know what could have. But anyway, no, it was
those plans move around.
They do, but you went for Foden. It was a great move. I watched him in the game. I can't remember who it was. He scored the goal. Who was it in his first game?
I saw him against Chelsea, and I don't think he did return, and that was what I needed to buy him. He played number 9 against Chelsea. It was the week after Chelsea.
So it was Liverpool. So you bought him ahead of the Liverpool game.
Yeah.
I watched him in that Liverpool game and thought, okay, this is a different Foden.
Oh, it was a really good goal, wasn't it?
It was
on the angle. Yeah.
It was a really good goal. It was a really good performance. He just was central to everything City were doing. He followed it up with the assist against Burnley, and then obviously the huge return against Brighton. So, yeah, I mean, you called it early. You're completely right. I think now a lot of people are moving for him after an 18-point hit, but we were there. I mean, he was like 6% owned. You got to be chuffed with that. That was a great call.
It was 0.6 when I got him. A Nuclear Atoms in the chat, who's a good pal. Late Riser called the Foden haul first. You can shut up. Excuse me. Late Riser was 1 day behind me on the wire when I spoke to Az. I have asked for the date of this. And Late Riser is my favourite FPL manager going. So I'm not slating him at all here. I love him. But so is Az. Late Riser did call him the day after I did, or the same day possibly, but different time zones. But he didn't actually put him in his team till 2 weeks after me. So you can do one, Nuclear. I was definitely the first scout attached person to bring Foden in. I checked.
Well, I thought it was nuts. Against Liverpool as well. I just didn't see the logic. I thought we've seen Foden before previous seasons. This happens. He has a good game, then he's out the team again. I just don't see it this year.
Yeah.
I think given that they haven't signed a striker, given that Torres is now injured, given that Mara is out of favour and Gabriel Jesus has moved over to the right, there's so many factors that make Foden a good option. Yeah. And the level of his performance against us. I know, deflected goal. And I mean, his other goal was completely.
I thought it was an own goal, the Dan Burn one, and then the one off his bum from Jesus' shot.
I know he was lucky to kind of get anything really, but got 18 points, and that's the difference between him and Grealish, right? Grealish is putting in good performances, but nowhere near getting any FPL returns. Foden's putting in good performances, but getting big scores, and that's what we want, because you want the players who get the points. It doesn't matter about everything else. All that matters is getting the points, and I think he's a great option. I think Bernardo Silva as well. There was rumours of him being sold in the summer.
Crazy that.
I know, but now he's in the team. He's pulling the strings. The difference between, like you say, between Foden and Havertz is how Foden's dropping and allowing Gundogan and Bernardo to push up. So whoever plays around Foden is going to benefit from him as well. But yeah, he's the one that I get. I think if you haven't got him, I think people really, really seriously need to be getting a strategy together to bring him in. He's going to be a hell of an option this season.
Yeah, he really is. I'm with you on that. And everything seems to have aligned for him to get the run of starts with the Torres injury. For me, Jesus moving out wide's really helped. Again, that was part of my thinking when I wildcarded him in. We had about 2 weeks of Jesus doing really well on the right then. And I'd seen Pep's comments, and Jesus said in an interview, I actually this is my favourite position. And I was like, okay, if he's going to be seen as a right forward, there is no other 9 option. And we'd seen Foden do it so well last year. So the other player I'm actually looking at is the way City are attacking. Do I go double City attack? And I like to be early to these things. And I'm already looking at what second City attacker I might want. And if there was one in there, it would actually be Gabriel Jesus. He's like 8.5-ish, which is as cheap as we've seen him. Playing on that right-hand side, he's getting the starts over Mahrez. And he looked so good against Brighton. Like Jesus looked sharp, and I like him and Foden link up really nicely. So again, I might go double City attack and go Jesus before it's cool.
It feels like some of the pressure's been taken off him now. He's over on the right. He looks more confident again. Like he's beating players. He's doing like step overs. He's doing tricks and things. And I think because he's not playing in that kind of central role, and he had all the shadow of Aguero looming over him and all that, I do wonder if they've really somehow got something really good there with him playing out wide. And he can't do what Foden's doing in terms of the dropping deep and winning the ball back and collecting. He either plays as a kind of a proper 9 or on the wing. And I think playing on the wing suits him a lot better than up front. Yeah, it's almost like Pep's a good manager, knows what he's doing, isn't it? Some of the time. So just some of the other players. So we've talked about defence and midfield. You had Antonio, Jimenez and Tony up front. Jimenez with the assist, Antonio with a goal. Tony with another blank, but with good fixtures to come. And your bench, Foster, Livramento, oh dear, Christensen and Brownhill. So looking at your team, I know the Livramento benching's annoying, but I'm guessing you weren't really considering playing. Your front 11 was pretty strong.
It was annoying because I was toying between Diaz and Livramento first sub because I had Christensen in my 11 who didn't play. So Diaz came on and got me the 2 points. And I actually, when I set my team and the deadline passed and I went to check, I was like, did I put Livramento first or Diaz first? Because I'd been swapping so often in the build up to the deadline. And then when I saw Diaz was first, I was like, okay, fine, now get a clean sheet. He'll come on because I knew Diaz hadn't played. And then obviously Livramento, I really felt Burnley would score. And I remember Seb saying on Twitter something like, all these people benching Livramento. And I was like, no, Burnley score. I didn't expect the Livramento post and goal within like 2 minutes. So yeah, that was really frustrating, especially because I've been big on Livramento since pre-season. Like, yeah, I've just had him so early and I've not had any points from him. I feel like I've been hard done by because I was the one at the start of the season going, this is the 4 million defender we all want. And everyone else was going, no. And I had him and I've just benched him every week and he always gets 6 points. And this week he got 9 on my bench.
I played him this week. I was quite proud of myself. I feel proud when you play your 4 million defender.
Yeah, it's ballsy, but why not? I mean, he's showing loads of attacking intent, right?
But I did play him over Smith Rowe, who actually outscored him. So I can't celebrate too much.
Mate, you had an absolute worldie week. To have Smith Rowe, you fair play. Your squad is in good shape.
Yeah, and needed because there's injuries abound. Yeah. Right. Rafinha we're going to talk about is a doubt. And Bomo's got a hamstring injury. Vardy's got an injury. Ben White has got an illness now. Ray has been injured. Like it's crazy. It's like literally flag central for a lot of people.
Yeah. Christensen and Azpilicueta as well.
I know. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, with teeth and back problems, and now question marks about Reece James because now he's played full 90 in the week, and it looks like Chilwell owners are going to be the ones laughing. I think. Going into the week. Right, let's look at your team for the next game week. You've gone for Foster in goal over Ramsdale. Interesting. Reece James, Diaz, and Cancelo. It's pretty similar to last week. Salah, Foden, Rafinha, Havertz. Salah captain this week. Havertz vice. Antonio, Jimenez, and Tony. You bench Livramento again. That's good. I'm playing him. You're probably going to get another haul. Christensen on your bench and Brownhill. So, I mean, the first one is you've gone for Foster over Ramsdale. Just purely fixture?
Purely fixture at the moment. To be fair, I created this team before Southampton playing Chelsea last night. Knowing Southampton looked so good going forward last night, I'm now starting to think they're definitely going to score against Watford and I might change it for Ramsdale. So that one, I'm on the fence. I'm not sure. Although if Ben White is injured, I don't like Ramsdale as much.
I know.
So it depends on Ben White. If Ben White's fit, I'd probably go Ramsdale.
Yeah, and lose on Vardy as well. If Vardy is going to be out.
Good point. Yeah. I mean, Leicester are looking like they're going to score. Like with like if Daka comes in, he's looked really good. Like his goals per minute must be amazing from the Europa League. So yeah, I don't expect either of my goalkeepers to keep clean sheets, to be honest.
No, that's optimistic.
I know.
That basically means the one that you bench will almost certainly keep the clean sheet, while the other one doesn't. That's normally how it works. What do you rate of Reece James? You got Reece James. He's you're benching Christensen.
Who will start? I think.
I'm guessing he's had surgery on his teeth. Is that right? It was a training collision, and he's had to have surgery on his teeth, something like that.
I feel like he was still on the bench I need to check, but I think he was on the bench last night. I know Azpilicueta wasn't, but I think Christensen was well enough for the bench last night. I need to check that, but I think he will start. Reece James, though, I'm not so sure. If Azpilicueta's fit, I think Reece James is benched. I really do, which is so annoying.
Because he comes on.
Yeah. He gets
20 minutes, 30 minutes.
It's 1 point.
Yeah.
So I'm actually thinking I might sell Reece James this week to Chilwell because I know Chilwell's going to start. And I know it. I actually sold Rudiger to Reece James 2 weeks ago. Like, talk about sideways moves. I've gone from Rudiger to James to then potentially Chilwell all in like 3 game weeks. Seems silly, but I'm just not convinced. I love Reece James, one of my favourite Chelsea players again. I would make that right wing back spot his own for the next 10 years. But Thomas Tuchel doesn't see it. For whatever reason, he just doesn't. There is a reason why Chelsea wanted to buy Hakimi in the summer. Look at the transfer news. We were linked with like 2 big signings this summer. One was a forward and we got him. The other one was a right wing back and we didn't. We missed out to PSG. Why did Tuchel want a right wing back? He's got 22-year-old Reece James. He's letting Livramento and Lamptey go to other clubs. He's not happy with it. There's something there that suggests, and we know this from the minutes and the starts he gets in the Premier League, that suggests Reece James is not a nailed Chelsea asset and Thomas Tuchel isn't 100% sold on him. And I don't know why, but it's a thing. So despite us being sold, we can't keep buying him if he's not getting Premier League starts.
And yet we both got him.
Because we think he's amazing.
I know. I mean, man of the match against Norwich, absolutely unbelievably good performance, I thought. Scored the winning penalty last night as well, I think, for Chelsea.
And he scored a pen in the last shootout for Chelsea in the league. I think he could actually be close to being on pens, knowing Mason Mount has missed 2 of his last 3 now. If Lukaku and Jorginho aren't on the pitch, Reece James could be the penalty taker.
Wow. If he's on the pitch.
He's on the pitch. Because Mason Mount has missed in the shootout last night, and then he missed 1 of the 2, which was retaken the other day. You can't miss 2 of 3 and still be on pens. I don't think so.
I just want to mention a great stat from someone in the chat. I need to find it now. While I do that, I'll set you talk. So just in midfield, you've got Salah, Foden, Rafinha and Havertz, like we mentioned. You've got Salah captain. Can you see yourself captaining any player other than Salah until the African Cup of Nations?
For this week, I'm captaining Salah because it's home. I do think there will be question marks in the next few. I'm not a Salah perma-captain. I always like the fixtures and despite the amazing form. But look, he could blank against Brighton and then going to West Ham away. We might look elsewhere. Who knows? But for now, this weekend, 100% locked. Salah is my captain.
Yep.
And also, he'll be hopefully rested tonight, which is nice.
Yep. And Havertz vice, so you're not going down that road again. It was Tom Bosman in the chat. Under Tuchel, in the last 28 matches, the number 9 has only scored 6 goals in those games from transfer market. Yeah, thanks, Tom. That was the stat that I remember seeing before this match. I couldn't remember exactly what it was. But you know, we've talked about Havertz at length. But you're not tempted. Is there a little bit of you that's tempted to go Havertz again, captain? Double down.
No, I moved mountains last week already. I feel like I doubled down last week by the 4-point hit in the surgery that my squad didn't need. So this would be a triple down. If I was tempted, anyone, I'm not even going to look at it because the more I talk about it and think about it, I'll convince myself into going, maybe let's try and look cool. But Phil Foden,
let's do that. Let's keep talking.
Phil Foden against Palace at home, knowing he'll be rested tonight. Foden's a cracking shout, but Salah's a better one.
Yeah, I think so. And up front, Antonio Jimenez and Tony, I'm guessing you're pretty happy with those.
I'm happy, but I don't like the Antonio. I'm starting to think isn't as good an asset as we think. He's been really quiet recently, despite his points against Spurs. He just stuck a leg out of a corner and got the points. Jimenez ceiling so low. Tony's definitely the lock for me, but I think Jimenez will probably go first out of those three forwards in the perhaps 3-4 weeks. But I don't think I'm sold on Antonio set and forget. I am with Tony, and I was quite unlucky not to get points from Tony last weekend. He should have scored in that first half, but yeah.
It's a little bit embarrassing though, the options that we've got up front. I mean, Vardy and Antonio are the top scorers in that position with 57. Gabriel Jesus, who we talked about, is there. Yeah. And then we're looking at Maximan with 41. I mean, he's got 3 more points than Gallagher, for example, 6 more points than Bowen. Ings is on 39. Then Dennis, Aubameyang, King.
Gosh.
I mean, Hwang's got 34. Hwang's looking decent at 5'7". Got Broja there, who you've talked about before at Southampton, but we're going down to like 6 million and under strikers. They're just really, I mean, with Calvert-Lewin out and Bamford injured as well, we just haven't got the options, have we, really? So
I don't think we have. Oh, if Lukaku's back fit, that will give us an option when that happens, but then his fixtures will turn. I genuinely think if I don't sell James, I will sell Diaz to free up that City spot. And it will be Trent coming in or Chile coming in. And that City spot I want to use on an attacker. And that attacker at the moment is looking like Gabriel Jesus. So I wouldn't be surprised if in a couple of weeks or even a week, I look at Jimenez or Antonio, probably Jimenez to Jesus. I've got I've got like 3-4 million in the bank.
So you've got enough money to get in Trent this week if you wanted?
Yeah.
But you think you're going to go Chilwell?
I'm on the fence. I don't know. I'm waiting on Azpi's injury news. If Azpilicueta's out, I keep Reece James. I sell Diaz to Trent. If Azpi is fit, I probably sell James to Chilwell.
Interesting.
Yeah. I definitely want Trent in the next few weeks anyway. Bringing him in for Watford seems of like an obvious move. So I'm probably slightly veering towards Trent for Diaz. And then I have that City attacker. I really do genuinely think Gabriel Jesus is going to score big soon. I think he's going to do a Foden.
Well, you've got your Man City, specs on. You're doing good job calling those players, so it wouldn't surprise me.
They'll definitely get rotation, Jesus, more than Foden, but I think you just have to, that's fine. When they're scoring 4 or 5 goals a game, that's fine. We're happy to spend 8 million on a Jimenez his team scores 1 goal a game. Why not spend 8 million on a Man City player, even if he's rotated 50% of the time, if they're scoring 4 or 5 a game?
Absolutely. Yep. Agree. If you're watching this video like now or later, well, you are watching this video now or later because otherwise you wouldn't be hearing what I'm saying. That's a weird thing to say. But yeah, consider liking the video. Drop us a comment as well if you liked it, and make sure you're subscribed to the channel too. We've got 653 people watching at 11 a.m. on a Wednesday. But yeah, not many likes. So yeah, if you have enjoyed listening to Gianni's pain, make sure you hit the like button. We're gonna just do Fantasy 5 quickly. So if you're interested in Fantasy 5, stick around for that. Some interesting ones. So I mean, Liverpool-Brighton. I mean, the obvious the games this week are Liverpool-Brighton, Watford-Southampton, Spurs-United, Norwich-Leeds, and Villa-West Ham. It might surprise you to know that Liverpool have been their players are quite high. Salah's 11.5, Mane's 10.5, Jota's 9.5. And then the Brighton players are all pretty low. Interesting with the Brighton centre backs, Byrne, Duffy, and Dunk are all under 6. So a clean sheet for Brighton or a goal would see them hit their target. Do you think Salah's the obvious pick, even though he was going to need essentially 12 points to do it, or do we go for Jota at 9.5? I guess we stick with a Liverpool player, right?
I don't mind Jota, at that. It depends who starts tonight. I mean, obviously the beauty is we can change this up until the deadline once we're in. But if Salah should be rested, but I could see Jota perhaps being rested as well. If Jota doesn't play 90 tonight and we think he's definitely going to start against Brighton, it's good to see Jota getting a nod ahead of Mane, like in what was a big game at Old Trafford. So I don't mind the Jota punt, but I mean, I don't know.
9.5 is high. It
is high, isn't it?
High targets though. I didn't think City would score as many as they did. I had them as quite a narrow victory. I think, like we were talking about before we came on, the difference between Chelsea, City, and Liverpool this year, it almost doesn't matter who they play outside of those other teams because they can always rack it up. I'll put Jota in for now, but
what's Trent?
What's Trent? That's a good question.
Just because he does look. He looks better this season. He looks like he's back.
Trent is 9.5, so same as Jota.
Oh, okay.
But you probably get the clean. I think we'll go for Trent. I'm going for Trent.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he could get
for that.
something. Watford Southampton. So we got Dennis is suspended, I believe, for this game, or is it the cup that he's suspended for? Are they in the cup still? Can't remember. But Josh King's the same price, 6.5, and will probably start. So is Broja though at 6.5.
Oh, there we go.
Saar 7.5. And then all the defenders are kind of 6.5. But I mean, even 7.5 for Saar or 6.5 for Bro. I think we go for Broja.
Yeah, 100%.
You love him. He's in good form. Stick him in.
Chelsea loan a lot of players out and they sell a lot of kids. We sold Livramento, we sold Lamptey. We sell amazing kids. But Broja was one we were not going to sell. He's that good.
Livramento's got a release clause. Buyback clause. Hasn't he?
It's like 40 million.
I know. Yeah, very. Because I think he was going to come to us, to Brighton, but we wouldn't accept that as part of the deal. Interesting. Spurs United. How do you reckon this one's going to go? Two managers under massive pressure. Two teams playing really poorly. I fancy a Spurs winning this.
Yeah, I actually think if you own Son in FPL, he's a good captaincy option this week. If you didn't have Salah for whatever bizarre reason, but I mean, this is the time to play United, right?
Absolutely. I mean, Kane's 6.5 on Fantasy 5 this week.
Good.
Son's 8.5. I mean, Kane's got penalties.
Yeah, it's worth going. It is. Although I wouldn't go with him in FPL for this.
I think on this, yeah, I think so. Norwich Leeds. I mean, Geldhart 6.5. He's come in and done a good job. Rodrigo's 7.5, so a bit higher. Rafinha's 8.5. Hoping that he's going to be fit. This is a really tricky one because if Rafinha's out, who the hell is going to score? If Rafinha's out, I can see Norwich winning this.
I was going to say I can see Norwich scoring for sure. So how much is what's Sargent and Pookie? Because
Pookie 6.5, Sargent isn't on it, I don't think.
They'll definitely both start. He's been going with the split strikers, and I mean it's not worked, but I think there's pressure from the fans to play Sargent.
Yeah, no, Sargent's not on here.
Okay, well, Pookie
6.5.
I'm with you. I think Norwich could score.
I think let's stick Pookie then. Pookie. If Pookie,
come on,
if Pookie wins us 10 grand. And the final game then is Villa West Ham. I definitely fancy West Ham in this. I was talking to Tom doing the captaincy video yesterday, and he's a Villa fan. He's terrified of this game.
Really?
He says Villa, the absolutely awful from defending set pieces. And with Creswell and Antonio in the team, he saw that goal they scored against Spurs and thought, oh, God, this is just going to happen to us.
Kurt Zuma header then.
Yeah, absolutely. So
hang time Zuma.
Absolutely. So it could be. So Zuma's 6.5. I mean, Creswell's 6.5.
Oh, okay. That's nice.
So I think he's the one to go for. Antonio's also 6.5 as well, though.
Gosh.
So there's quite a few kind of
generous pricing for West Ham players.
There is. Yeah. I mean, Benrahma, Souček are all 7.5.
I'd be happy with Antonio or Creswell at that price.
I think let's go for Creswell.
Yeah.
Let's go for Creswell at 6.5, but we can always switch it to Antonio if you want. So our team is Trent, Broja, Kane, Pookie, Creswell. Pookie's probably the one I'm most worried about, but rest looks pretty solid.
Hey, if Rafinha's definitely fit, we could always change it and put Rafinha in. Although I think he was 8.5 when it's quite a bit.
I need to log in.
A couple of returns.
Actually, good reminder here. Open one password. I've got a password manager. Obviously awful what's been happening last few weeks in the community, but I would strongly suggest anyone to change their passwords on everything. Make sure you've got unique passwords, strong passwords. I've got one password, and this is not a hashtag ad. I just did some research and just picked them. They seem really good. I'm really liking the way that you can set passwords and it stores them all in kind of one place and all of that. So yeah, hashtag non-ad for one password, but yeah, make sure your passwords are sorted. That's us for this week. Gianni, thanks for joining me. Hopefully next week brings better things for you. I mean, to be fair, it was a bad week, but 80 points wasn't. I mean, I've seen some horrific scores, 50, 60. You're kind of in the kind of just below average side. Yeah, but hopefully your team looks strong and you'll bounce back next week.
Yeah, the important thing is the team's strong and my players all delivered with points, and therefore they're in-demand players and they're going up in value. So the team looks well set. I saw a lot of people with sort of 80, but with Salah captain. It's like they had a dreadful week, but Salah got them out of a lot of trouble. So yeah. Yep. One last plug from me, if you're watching, you can see my Twitter handle on screen. Give it a follow and see the first post which is about a football tournament in London. If you want to take part, all the details are the pinned tweet, I think, to my page. I think I pinned it this morning, but really keen to get some sign-ups. I'm putting this on purely based on people saying they want there to be a football tournament. And I am hoping any UK-based people might want to play, enter a team or sign up as an individual. It's a charity tournament. It's like 20 quid a head.
Absolutely. Yeah. No, sounds great. I think I'm out that day. I've got a friend's birthday thing. Otherwise, I would be absolutely all over that. I'm going to
You're available the Friday night though, right?
Yes, I'll be there. It's Fest night, right?
It's Fest night.
It's Fest night. Yeah, of course I'll be at Fest. Yeah, I'm going to be a barrel of laughs at the birthday party. The next birthday, but it's not a birthday party. I'm not 10. Maybe it is a birthday. Maybe I'll get a little goodie bag. Who knows? Anyway, right, Gianni, thanks for joining me, and I'll